Have you ever felt a goodbye so suffocating, even though the encounter had only just begun? It's a strange, heavy paradox. That evening, under the leaden, cloudy skies of Mexico City, a beautiful chapter had to end all too quickly. The usually bustling, chaotic atmosphere of the airport suddenly shifted. It turned silent, weighted with a profound sense of longing and a shared, unspoken sorrow. The grand stage lights that had illuminated the stadium just hours before have now dimmed. They've been replaced by the flickering, sterile terminal lamps reflected in the puddles of a drizzling rain. BTS, the group that just shook thousands of souls in the heart of Mexico, must now step toward their blue jet. This isn't just a routine flight home or a leap to the next tour stop. It is a departure that leaves behind a lingering ache in every heart that witnessed their magic. Imagine thousands of fans, the devoted army, still wearing their concert gear. Their purple hoodies are damp, their light sticks are tucked away, and they are huddled together behind the cold glass windows of the terminal. Their eyes are no longer sparkling with the raw euphoria of the front row. Instead, they are wet with tears falling slowly, mirroring the rhythm of the rain outside. They watch a silver bird, the blue-streaked jet, sitting on the tarmac, ready to carry their heroes far away into the night. The drizzle in Mexico City that afternoon felt like a symbol, as if nature itself was weeping at their departure. The wet runway acted as a dark mirror, reflecting the pulsing navigation lights from the elegant fuselage. Everything felt incredibly dramatic, exactly like the closing scene of a high-budget cinematic masterpiece where the protagonists must leave just as the audience falls in love. On the tarmac, the world keeps moving, indifferent to the heartbreak inside the terminal. Airport crews were busy around the aircraft, ensuring every bolt and fuel line was ready for the long-haul flight. The boarding stairs were still attached firmly to the door, waiting for the final footsteps of the 7 men who have changed so many lives across this vibrant nation. Inside the terminal building, a large sign reading Mexico stood tall and proud. Usually, it's a sign of welcome, but this time it felt like a silent witness to a promise. A promise that this Latin American land will always yearn for their return. The departure felt all too real as the jet engines began their low, rhythmic hum, a sound that signaled the end of a dream. Fans' phone screens at the airport were a blur of motion. They were filled with shaky, blurry farewell photos taken by trembling hands through the glass. Short captions like, "Bye-bye," or "Please don't go," accompanied by waving hand emojis, dominated the social media timelines. There was a sense of deep reluctance hidden behind every single word they typed. This is what we call post-concert depression, that sudden, hollow feeling that strikes after the peak of happiness has just been reached. Mexico, a country usually exploding with color and upbeat mariachi or reggaeton, suddenly felt gray and somber as the group began to fade from sight. The departure to California was indeed scheduled, yet for the locals, this visit felt entirely too brief. It felt as if only yesterday they were breathing the same air in the stadium, but today they must return to staring at an empty sky. There was a detail captured by long-lens cameras before the members fully disappeared into the cabin. Several members were seen carrying the Mexican flag with deep respect. It wasn't just a prop, they held it like a personal souvenir. It was a clear sign that Mexico had earned a special, permanent place in their hearts. Even in their exhaustion, sincere words of gratitude were conveyed to the local crew. This humble attitude, the way they bow and thank the people who work behind the scenes, made even the airport staff feel the loss. They don't just leave behind music, they leave an impression of kindness that lingers long after the jet fuel scent dissipates. According to local fan communities, the Blue Jet actually experienced a slight technical delay before takeoff. In any other context, a delay is a nuisance. But for the army at the gate, those extra minutes were a gift. They used them to keep gazing at the runway, as if hoping for a miracle, a weather shift, or a change of heart that would make the group stay just a little longer. But the drizzle began to roar louder, soaking the plane's stairs, which were finally being pulled away. The cabin door slowly closed, severing the visual contact. At that moment, the silence of the terminal was broken by small sobs. The energy from the night before was still vibrating in their bones, but the physical presence was gone, tucked behind the pressurized walls of the cabin. We know their next journey is toward the United States, yet the shadows of Mexico City's warmth will surely follow them across the border. Mexico wasn't just a quick stop on a map, it was a place where a new history was written through the sincere love of the fans. Many wish they could have stayed to enjoy simple things, tacos on a street corner, or the historic architecture of Zocalo. But the global clock never stops ticking. As the engines roared to a piercing crescendo, the aircraft began to taxi. Every rotation of the wheels on the wet asphalt felt like a heartbeat racing with the weight of impending longing. From behind those small windows, perhaps the members were looking back too, seeing the silhouettes of thousands of people waving tirelessly. They know that the love here is wild, pure, and unbreakable. The plane accelerated, leaving a trail of mist in its wake. Finally, the nose lifted, and they soared high, piercing through the clouds. Below, thousands of eyes stayed fixed on the sky until that blue dot completely vanished into the gray. "See you in 2027, a fan whispered, her voice barely audible over the rain. 2027 feels like a lifetime away, yet that hope is the anchor. This farewell is merely a long pause before a much more magnificent reunion. The echo of their songs still rings in the stadium and the streets of CDMX. This deep sense of longing will become the fuel for the fans to continue supporting them from afar. The narrative of this departure reminds us that every beautiful meeting must reach an end point. However, the most important thing isn't the exit, it's the trail of kindness left behind. BTS left more than just memories, they left a message of connection. The journey to California may only take a few hours, but the emotional journey felt by the fans will last a lifetime. Every drop of rain that fell that afternoon will be remembered as a witness to a legend's departure. Thank you, Mexico, for being such an incredible host. Thank you for the energy that allowed them to fly higher. So, do you feel the weight of this farewell? Let's keep these memories tucked tightly in our hearts. Because for us, there is no such thing as a permanent goodbye, only a see you later at a much more beautiful time.